I graduated in 1951 from the University of Nebraska, which was at that time was a general ag degree. And you got a taste of agronomy, they didn't call it animal science at that time, they called it animal husbandry. I enjoyed going to school, I really did, but I looked at it as an investment and all the time because it was tough. I think that one of the main things in preparation to the academic part of it is to not only protect but build your reputation.
At one point I was introducing Paul and I was thinking, what do you go through and say about someone like Paul Engler? And what come to mind for me is that if you were to do a Mount Rushmore of West Texas business people, Paul Engler would end up being one of those people on that Mount Rushmore. He is in many ways the cattle industry in this part of the country and really revolutionized it beyond what you could even imagine.
So I was at Hereford, Texas, and I bought a large bunch of cattle from a rancher by the name of Joe Reinauer. And at that particular time, we were still shipping some cattle by rail. And a train pulled in from it had been made up in Amarillo. And it was the day after the Amarillo auction. And at that particular time, it was not unusual for the Amarillo auction to have as many as 15,000 cattle, at an auction. I just mentioned to the rancher, I said, this is all wrong. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're exporting. You're exporting the ingredients and the commodities that would support the cattle feeding industry. So that's how it all started. I went back to Nebraska and asked Mr. Dinklage what he thought about it, and he was familiar enough with the area. And he said it'd work. He said, absolutely. So I did. I went to Hereford and bought what is now the old Hereford feed yards. Dr. Terry and I, we got to give him a lot of credit because he and I, and discussions and visiting and so forth, we kind of came up with that idea. I've obligated that foundation. And hopefully my goal and objective in the Paul and Virginia Engler Foundation is that I wanted that to go on to perpetuity. It's going to be a so-called active deal, hopefully for a long time. But the way the agreement reads, it's for 80 years and then for the option for the university to renew it for another 80 years. So we're going to go to work on that.
In this part of the country, the name Paul Engler is associated with greatness and legendary. He is such a remarkable business entrepreneur whose commitment to hard work and excellence made him a great business leader. The Paul and Virginia Engler Foundation's transformative gift has helped the college attract remarkable and outstanding faculty and provide scholarships for programs and students for many generations to come.
In modern higher education, I don't believe it's possible for you to advance an academic program without a partnership with the private sector, and primarily donors or business operations. You need scholarships for students. Higher education's went up significantly over the years, and scholarships are an important part of maintaining price competitiveness and to help out students that are of high need.
The students really are the number one issue as far as a college or a university is concerned. You can come up with the best faculty, in the world, but the students are going to be the ones that really make the university.
We had went to a meeting, and we were coming back and we were walking through the college, and I was wanting to show him some of the signage and the new things that we've put into the college since we've done the naming. And we were doing that. We were walking through the halls, and there were several students that were sitting at some of the cafe tables in the reception area. And they obviously knew who he was, but they don't know him. And so you could go through and say, well, that's Mr. Engler, that's it. So he just kind of like stopped for a minute and looked at them and then just walked over and introduced himself and said, hello, I'm Paul Engler. And it's funny to go through and have students say, yes, sir, we know who you are. He said, well, where are you from? And he did that probably with 20 students. in that little time period. And I think it shows a certain spirit of how he genuinely wants to get to know the students, wants to end up making a difference, and wants to be a part of West Texas A&M University.
We are incredibly grateful to Mr. Engler for his generosity and his ongoing support for our college.
I'm very pleased to see the more I've gotten acquainted, with WT after this deal and the visits and get acquainted with faculty members from this and that, and I feel good about that.